Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns big or small in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
At Southeast Community College, we know that winter isn't even here yet, but spring is already on our minds. Registration for the spring 2022 semester is open now. Whether you want to get a head start on a 4-year degree, learn a new trade with a certificate program, or add to your job skills, SCC has a class for you. Spring semester starts January 10th. Learn more about our more than 60 programs of study online at southeast.edu. SCC, your path to possible.
Now what do? Football is over. The weather's crappy. Man, I tell you what, it's a perfect time to go car shopping. This is Carl from Price Right Auto. Come out to Price Right in Westdale and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. With our non-commissioned sales process, we let you control the sale. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our peace of mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, PriceRightAuto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on Westdale Street at Price Right Auto.
My son Aiden has asthma. Secondhand smoke has triggered his asthma so badly, he ended up in the emergency room and spent multiple nights in intensive care. Now he's on a whole bunch of medications. My tip to you is, don't be shy about telling people not to smoke around your kids.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Working at Continental of Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljob.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to Great Clips. Great Clips asks, what's the difference between good and great? Come on back and have a seat. Good asks you what haircut you'd like. I have all your details from last time. Would you like the same haircut today? Great already knows. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details so you can get the same thing as last time, every time. Download our online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
With the news of Wan'Dale Robinson, of course, now Kentucky wide receiver heading off to the NFL draft, you might cheer for him at the next level, and I will too, but make no mistake about it, Wan'Dale opting out early wraps up the end of a sad story for Husker fans of what could have been in Lincoln, as Wan'Dale had an absolute great tenure with Kentucky, setting their single season record for receiving yards, 1,334. That's well over the amount that the highest he ever got at Nebraska receiving is 461. Of course, they were rushing him a little bit more at Nebraska, which probably was part of the problem. But it is sad to see. it's happy. You're kind of happy for your former guy, right? And he goes out there and beats Iowa for you, and kind of even put that on his Instagram that he was going to attempt to do that for his former Husker following. So I know there's no like bad feelings toward Wandale, but it is just sad overall because Nebraska lost one of their best players, one of their building blocks, and I think it makes the top 10 in my mind of things that have gone wrong in the Frost tenure. And I'll bring that 10 to you. I used to do box tops, so I suppose this is a very depressing part of box tops, but it's fun to break down. For what it's worth, I'm not including like specific game action or game calls, but just kind of situations that haven't worked out for Nebraska. Number 10, I would say, and you can react to these, Big Sky. Number 10, I would say Luke McCaffrey, the whole dilemma, the whole idea to try to the pitch to bring him here, to get him to play quarterback. They could have used him probably as a weapon on offense, but he wanted to play quarterback, and ultimately you just feel like they didn't get enough out of Luke while he was here.
Feels like a good 10. I don't think you can go any higher with that one because it wasn't a catastrophic failure.
Yeah, but as far as being your future plan at quarterback, it flamed out pretty quickly.
It would have been a failure if he had.
Yeah. Number 9 on my list, just coaching the UCF bowl game. Remember when they beat Auburn? Seemed very admirable at the time. It kind of raised Scott Frost's profile. But if you go back and you look at the recruiting class, the first one, a lot of it was striking out, and they started 0 for 6. I don't know if that's a direct correlation to coaching that bowl game, but certainly it's not done often, and there's a reason for that, because you want to have all your attention toward your next job, and they didn't.
I mean, I don't think that recruiting class came together poorly. They had a very highly rated class. It's just that it fell apart. So maybe they didn't have enough time to evaluate the characters that they needed to be, because some of the guys that came in flamed out because, they're not people that you want enrolled at your university. So I think that was probably the biggest reason why I would say that's a fair thing to put on your list.
Yeah. And to be fair too, to that, it's always hard to get that recruiting class when you're kind of switching the job there to begin with. Number 8 on my list, just kind of the early arrogance that Scott Frost had. We all heard about the second year, how that was going to be a big deal. Those weird player comparisons to all-time greats, like you would compare Adrian Martinez to throws that he's only seen from that guy up in Kansas City that he's making in practice. Of course, famously kind of compared Cam Jurgens, who they were moving to center, to Dave Remington by the time he was going to be done. I don't think that they probably hit that goal, although Jurgens is good. I just don't know about all-time great.
That's probably the thing that grinds my gears the most about Scott Frost, so I would agree.
His arrogance?
Yes.
Yeah. It's died down over the last couple of years. It had to, after the on-field results.
How do you continue to be arrogant after what has happened?
Right. But I think to what, I think Big Ten coaches remember that, right? The long-time ones. So there's that. How about the Big Ten? They're going to have to adapt to us, quote, his opening press conference. How are you going to adapt to the Big Ten? They're going to have to adapt to us. Since then, hasn't beaten Wisconsin, hasn't beaten Iowa, troubles with Minnesota. I mean, we all know the rule, how it's gone for him and in the Big Ten, and now they're switching offenses completely.
Yeah, the Big Ten doesn't forget. He said something at UCF when they played Michigan that they out hit Michigan.
That's right.
Michigan hasn't forgotten that, and it's carried over to Nebraska. So yeah, it's the podium has bitten Frost a couple of times.
It has. Number 6 on my list is bringing along his friends. It's kind of known at this point. Some of the friends still on staff, and some of them have worked out in Shenander, but he's on his 3rd offensive coordinator in 5 years, and this is the first one not on the tree, so to speak. As obviously, he brought Troy Walters over from UCF. That didn't work out, and then Matt Lubick was kind of a former guy that he's worked with at Oregon. Now they're kind of going completely outside the system, and of course had to fire a lot of the guys that he brought over from UCF.
Yeah, the defensive hires worked just fine. Offense, not so much. Different story.
Number 5 on my list, the Maurice Washington experience. That was one that they kind of knew was going to bring a lot of negative press, and it had to kind of be worth the risk. The reward was going to have to be worth the risk, and in the end, I don't know if you got that. You got a few highlights, but you didn't get wins, and you didn't have a game-changing guy. You just had some probably news that you don't want reflected on the program.
You got one win in 2019 at Illinois from Maurice Washington. He did a lot in that game.
And that almost beat Colorado, at least that second half in Boulder. But still, I don't think and for what it's worth, I think Nebraska has to take chances on the guys that are at that level. that maybe had some checkered past because the other programs will look past them. Nebraska's at a place you kind of got to take those gambles, but when it doesn't work out, it doesn't reflect well. Number 4 on the list, and this might be number 1, but disciplined football has not been present from day one. Attention to detail, not a specialty from this staff, and that's been very disappointing. You kind of knew that at UCF. I mean, when they weren't especially disciplined there, and you wondered, was that going to translate? It sure as heck has translated. And it's been frustrating.
Yeah, it seems like penalties derail just about every other successful drive the Huskers can put together. And Scott on the text line, Mo was lost to the transfer portal. He is still somewhere in there.
He's floating in the transfer portal somewhere.
In the portal void.
Number 3 on my list is the Wan'Dale Robinson situation. You kind of look at it, looks like he's played out of position. And like I said, some people get tired of talking about it, but today wraps up the day of kind of reflecting on it. The college career is over, and you look at it, man, was that guy one of the best receivers in the nation this year, and Nebraska was hesitant to use him there. Probably if they would have stayed with Nebraska, they would have forced him at the running back position more than he probably wanted again.
Yeah, it just seemed like one of those relationships that was mutually beneficial to split,
Yeah. Speaking of that, Adrian Martinez is number 2 on my list. It's nothing about, that was the first recruit they got. It's nothing against the guy. He is a great leader and all that, but there is just almost a curse over the pairing of Adrian and Scott Frost. And so maybe the curse is gone, but I mean, again, I don't want to derail too heavy on the guy, but that's a huge deal when your first recruit is your starting quarterback and you ride with him the whole way. And obviously by the end of it, you have to let him go with still a year remaining just because they just can't get over the hump.
Yeah, I don't think Adrian Martinez is a mistake, Bach. I think that's a miss on your list there.
Well, the one reason why I think Adrian is a mistake is number 1 on my list. Is he better than what we got? Of course, the quote that will hurt and go down with Scott Frost for the rest of time. No attempt to go get Joe Burrow, who is now one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. And of course, had some Heisman success, some championship success at LSU.
I feel like that statement just like echoes in the back of Frost's mind at all times.
Oh, it always will, and it will always be one that I like to go out and point to as long as we're being sad about Husker football, because it's an all-time quote. But kind of a sad list. Hopefully, I can turn that around. I've never done, we did top 10s for a long time. Be really easy pot shot just to do the top 10 wins under Scott Frost's career. I'm still just not going to do that because we all know that wouldn't be a fun list either. But I thought that list took a little bit more creativity. We'll take a quick break. When we come back here on the block with Strick and Bock, Strick will be in. He'll be ready to go for the final 2 hours. Also, Brian Christopherson at 24/7 Sports coming up next to help break down that Husker loss to Michigan State yesterday in basketball and some of the movement with the Husker football team. That's coming up next year on the Block with Strick and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns big or small in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Hines. Over the holiday break, Lincoln Northeast secured the Heartland Athletic Conference Tournament Championship over Lincoln Pius X, 51-48. Gottner for Northeast led all scorers with 19. The undefeated Lincoln Northeast Rockets now sit at 9-0, and Lincoln Pius sits at 6-3. For the girls, Fremont would walk away with the championship, also beating Lincoln Pius X, 59-47. McGabe for Fremont led all scorers with 20. Fremont now leads the Class A girls by power points in the NSAA rankings with a record of 7-1. Lincoln Pius sits at 4th with a record of 7-2. In the Shelby Rising City Wrestling Invitational, Grant Wells from Lincoln Lutheran won the 126 championship weight class by decision in a match versus Mosel from Plainview, who was previously undefeated. Lincoln Lutheran would finish 9th out of 12 teams. In the Bennington duels, Lincoln East would finish 1st as a team out of 10. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Now what do? Football is over. The weather's crappy. Man, I tell you what, it's a perfect time to go car shopping. This is Carl from Price Right Auto. Come out to Price Right in Westell and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. With our non-commissioned sales process, we let you control the sale. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our peace of mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, pricerightauto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on West O Street at Price Right Auto.
South Lincoln has a new place for you to catch all sporting events. The Upside Bar and Lounge is your destination for Monday Night Football, UFC fight nights, and more. It's a great place to meet friends to enjoy great drinks and food, with plenty of TVs to catch all the action. There's easy access and free parking and comfortable seating for groups. And don't forget happy hour from 3 to 6 p.m. each weekday. There's specials every night, including taco night on Mondays and burger baskets on Tuesdays. That's at the Upside Bar and Lounge at 27th and Pine Lake.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies, bitterly cold conditions here for our Thursday, only topping out near 11 with a northwest wind at 10 to 15. That will promote wind chill values well below zero for much of the day. Tonight, a low of around 5 as warmer air tries to move in, and we will be slightly warmer tomorrow with a high of 23. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Breakfast tacos, brisket tacos, pork tacos, chicken tacos. You hungry yet? I can keep going. Pork or chicken, queso nachos, queso mac and cheese, hatchback burritos. Now you're salivating. Muchachos is Lincoln's premier New Mexico barbecue fusion restaurant, and you can't miss them in their bright blue building. Pair that great food with delicious coffee for breakfast and a variety of local and national beers on tap the rest of the day. Order your food online at yomuchacho.com or visit them in person at Muchachos on South 11th Street between L and K Streets.
My son Aiden has asthma. Secondhand smoke has triggered his asthma so badly, he ended up in the emergency room and spent multiple nights in intensive care. Now he's on a whole bunch of medications. My tip to you is, don't be shy about telling people not to smoke around your kids.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is On the Block with Strick Bock. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Creed stan, Jake Bakoven.
I love that band, Creed.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick and Bock. Hold up.
The champ is here. It is Eric Strickland joining On the Block with Strick and Bock. Lex and Form over there on the stream. You can catch us on the stream if you head over to theticketfm.com. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all those things. So you can see us smile and wave to you and not just listen to us, but also the radio or, the podcast, wherever you find us. We will appreciate it either way. Strick, how you doing today?
Having a good day, man. It's a wonderful day just to be here, be alive. It's not snowing.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It's kind of cold here in Lincoln, but we try to we'll stay inside and do the radio show, so it's not so bad. We got heat, it's
you look
not
nice
so
and
bad.
cozy, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Clean.
it's not too bad.
Yeah, we good to go. It's
Yeah.
another beautiful day to be here on 93.7 The Ticket FM. And glad to have our listeners to join in and listen to what we have to say and discuss today. It looks like we have a wonderful show for them.
Yeah, not a shortage of stuff to talk about. Well, we love when Husker football obviously gives us something to go with. Husker basketball, of course, coming up short. Husker baseball ranked in the top 25, so a lot of stuff to go over, and we'll go over some of that stuff with Brian Christopherson at 24/7 here in just a little bit as we about 5 minutes here. But first, we do want to get caught up with Strick and some of these things, and obviously we'll talk about them throughout the day. But first of all, your first initial thoughts is it looks like the Casey Thompson to Nebraska thing is becoming a little bit more real. He was in town as late as yesterday. Some of the teams that he has announced as his top 5 have chosen different quarterbacks, so kind of the pool is shrinking, and it looks like the Casey Thompson in Nebraska might be the marriage that we've all been waiting for. Is he an exciting enough name for you if you're a Husker football fan? And is he a penciled in starter? Or do you think Logan Smothers will still have something to say about that?
Well, I mean, to be honest, Casey Thompson is a phenomenal get for us. He's a person that threw for over 2,000 yards and 24 touchdowns, which topped the Big 12 last year. He's someone who has some versatility. You can tell. I mean, being that he was able to do what he was able to do last year down in Texas with a thumb injury on his throwing hand is something. I think Steve Sarkisian was happy with kind of his progression and what he was able to do, even as an injured player, stepping in and filling the role behind Hudson Card. When they were having a lot of trouble, obviously they didn't have the success that they'd want. I think he was looking for greener pastures, and we think we may have found something there in him. I look forward to seeing what he's able to do and provide. I don't want to say any situation is penciled in, but I would have to say that he's A1 candidate definitely for what the Huskers are in need of. And he also had to look at the situation with the transfer coming from Ohio State and Quinn Ewers, who was a 5-star recruit out of Texas. He played at South Lake Carroll, which is pretty close to the area in which I used to live. And so with Quinn coming in, looking for another opportunity, and I think he may have found one with the Husker Red.
Yeah, hopefully he has. Again, it's nothing official. It just seems like things are starting to shrink to the school list that he kind of put out there, or his dad put out there, I should say. As a lot of those schools have decided on a quarterback today. Other schools have, or at least reports have been that Missouri in that case hasn't been as interested as maybe the Thompsons have put out there. But let's start there with Brian Christopherson of Husker247.com at 24/7 Sports. Brian, I wanted to start with basketball, but since we're on football, we'll get to basketball here in a second. Casey Thompson to Nebraska looks like it's closer than ever to being a good deal, a deal that might happen. If it does happen, what is Nebraska getting in Casey Thompson?
Well, you get that experience card. I mean, some of the other guys we're talking about, like Chubba Purdy, there's a lot of potential there, but he's basically got Purdy basically has the experience of Logan Smothers at this point. In Casey Thompson, you're talking about a 23-year-old who would be a fifth-year junior, who who started a full season basically at Texas, played some of it injured, has had some games that were exceptional. Against Oklahoma, he threw 5 touchdowns, had a few other Saturdays that were like that. Now, he did have some interception issues at times, and he's maybe not as mobile as some QBs that are out there on the market, but you get a veteran guy who is, I think, a pass-first guy and could fit a lot of what Mark Whipple likes. And so, I think going into this, the big question has been, is Nebraska going after 1 or 2 guys, to add to that QB room? And I've pushed all along that if you can get 2, go for it, because I mean, right now you only have 3 scholarship QBs in the room, not a lot of experience. And I think that's what Casey Thompson would bring. You bring a guy who immediately has some sort of resume at least. And so, Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. And as we've seen today, his short list, when you look at it, a lot of those teams, two of those teams today picked up guys. They picked up QBs, so they might be off the market. And, does he want to go to Oklahoma where his dad played, where they just picked up Dylan Gabriel? I'm not sure about that. So it seems like if Nebraska's in on it, I think Casey Thompson's in on it because their family has been pretty high on Nebraska for about at least a week from what we've been hearing.
And you mentioned Logan Smothers too, and that's kind of the question that I guess we get a lot on the text line is probably where would he be feeling in the midst of all this? We all know kind of the feelings that quarterbacks get. They're quick to go and try to find a starting spot and all that, but I guess because we haven't really heard from him, he probably has to be on board with this idea of competition, right?
Well, I'm sure it's a little bit tough when you're hearing everybody talk about somebody else, and there's in that conversation, there's sort of this presumption that, like if it's Casey Thompson, like he's the favorite to start then. If you're a competitor, that's difficult to hear. That said, I think those guys knew, just looking at the numbers in their room, that Nebraska was going to add at least one guy. They had to know that. There's no way Nebraska's going into next year with just 3 scholarship guys. When Scott Frost first got here, he was asked, what's the ideal number of quarterbacks scholarship-wise you want in your room, and 5 was the number. So, it makes sense that they're going to add at least one, and certainly 2 is within reason. And so that's sort of the delicate dance, though, that Nebraska has to play is you're trying to add, but you're also trying not to run people off. But at the same time, there is that point where you got to say, we got to go get the best guy we possibly can, add competition to the room. And if somebody leaves because of it, that's just the way it is, because they have to know they're going to have to fight for this. Everybody knows what's at stake this year for the staff and everything. So it makes sense that you would add a more experienced guy to the competition, and also tell Casey Thompson, this doesn't mean it's your job. If he ends up coming here, you still got to go beat these guys out, because just because you're 23 years old and have a couple of years on the other guys, that doesn't just give you the number one spot. You still got to go out there and earn it. So you got to, I think, declare that and be really candid with all the people involved in the situation.
Brian, Eric Strickland here. Before we get into the basketball part, I would just like to get a little bit of your insight with regards to Casey Thompson's ability. What is his arm strength like, and what is his abilities as far as, does he throw the deep ball well? Is he just kind of a read type of a guy? What do you see his specific skill set is that we could expect in Nebraska if he does choose to come?
Yeah, good to hear from you, Eric. I think I think his arm strength is good. Everything I've read and heard and talked to people who covered him, every week at Texas, I think he has the tools. I think there's a lot there that Mark Whipple's going to like. I've heard, from what I've gathered, I think Mark Whipple thinks he could be a good prospect. So that's a guy who just coached Kenny Pickett, who was in a Heisman finalist. So that says something if he's on board with it. I said in the first answer, and I do believe this, I don't think he's as much of a runner as some of the other guys, and maybe even Purdy, but I do think he can move enough. He can give you something with that, and he's mobile and all that. Now, the thing about him is, last year it was that OU game where he had a thumb injury, and he played the rest of the season with that. And so, people do have to factor that into it. That's part of football, obviously, is you're going to deal with setbacks like that. But he was probably not 100% all of last year. And he was a guy who felt like he had done enough. This is from what his dad told our site, that he should probably be the favorite as the starter at Texas this year. And obviously Texas has brought in a big time transfer, and that kind of changed the landscape there. So he's a guy who, he thinks he's a Power 5 quarterback who should lead a team, and he has the confidence. And I think he has enough in that toolbox that you'd say there's a lot to work with there. It's just, can he bring the interceptions down a little bit? That's really the big question, I think.
And as we kind of get closer to spring classes and all that, I think Husker fans are excited to see that picture come together. Part of the picture that still hasn't been coming together is the complete coaching staff. There's been rumblings out there about a special teams coordinator, but what do you expect this thing to kind of fill out and look like, and how soon can we expect it to be done?
Well, I know there hasn't been that press release people are waiting on, but I think at least 2 of the 3 spots that are supposedly open are solved, and I'm not saying the other one isn't behind closed doors, but Mike Dawson, I believe, is going to coach what you would call the defensive front, D line, and that outside backer spot he's been working with, which fits pretty seamless together, those parts. And obviously he coached the D line his first year that Frost was here. So that makes a lot of sense. And then Bill Bush, I'm quite sure is going to be the special teams coach. And it's a question of, do you throw another title onto Bill Bush's job description? Does he work with some part of the defense as well? I don't know. But I mean, let's be honest. A lot of the clamoring last year was for Nebraska to have a guy who is fully devoted to special teams. And that's sort of it, like you put all your attention to that and get that thing working. And, Nebraska's added a scholarship punter. They've added a scholarship place kicker. And Bill Bush was heavily involved in both those things. He visited the kicker twice on recruiting trips. He definitely was a big part of the conversation with the punter they're bringing in. So those guys who are joining the program, who are going to be key components of special teams, those guys are fully under the expectation that Bill Bush is going to lead that thing. I know because they've said it in quotes and stuff like that. So if there's people who are sort of doubting if that's what's going to happen, I would just say I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. And a lot of the guys that have been recruited for key spots involved with that think that's going to happen. And then when it comes to the running backs coach, I mean, the names I guess you hear are, Brian Applewhite, who was down at TCU, and Greg Knox, who was down in Florida, and, Ron Brown even still comes up sometimes. So I'm not ready to say for sure who that guy is, but I think it could be final even tomorrow, but I think by early next week at the latest.
Brian Christopherson of Husker247.com, 24/7 Sports, joining us here. Let's transfer over to basketball now, where the Husker basketball team went on the road to East Lansing, came up short 79-67 against the top 10 Spartans. Are they in a position, obviously still kind of battling the losing streaks, but are they in a position to where you think that they can see these last 2 games as an improvement, or is it just kind of hard in that within that locker room to see that if you're not getting wins?
I would guess it's a mixture of both those things, but I mean that Ohio State one was tough because you're there, you're up 5, with 37 seconds left. That's one that, I mean, you can feel it. You're gripping that game, and you're getting a win that's going to build confidence and all that stuff. And then you have a veteran guy going to the line and he misses 2. And that wasn't the only reason that things went south on Nebraska in that game. But that's tough. And at some point you do have to break down that wall. And, we saw this with the football program last fall. It's like, you can feel like you're getting close, but at a certain point that doesn't satisfy you, and it really shouldn't. And I don't think it satisfied Fred Hoiberg. That said, I do think you can step back and say the team we watched play against Auburn and Michigan, when it was just a train wreck, and it looked honestly in at least 1 or 2 of those games where you'd say the effort wasn't quite there. I think you would say it's markedly different. And I do think they found something sort of shifting their offensive game plan and working through Derek Walker. And Derek Walker's really responded. I mean, you can't complain about what that guy has given you on both ends of the floor. It's just a deal where, Nebraska's a team, searching for confidence and sort of that thought that not hoping they're going to win, but believing they're going to win. And last night you're playing a team that expects to be in the Elite 8 or Final 4. I mean, so that's a tough cocktail. You've got to do everything sort of right and hit a lot of shots to win a game like that. And as Fred said in his post game last night, Nebraska just went cold there at the wrong time when they had a shot.
And of course, the next up for Nebraska is Rutgers here in just a few days. I believe that game is on Saturday. What can we expect as Nebraska heads to the RAC? I mean, as you mentioned, it's hard to fault them too much for losing some of these games, but this whole schedule in January is just a dog. Is Rutgers one of the more gettable games, you think?
Yeah, I mean it is brutal, and Fred Hoiberg said that at the beginning of the month. He knew exactly what they were going up against, and that's why it's really tough when you've got Ohio State game. Not to go back, but I mean, it's right there, and that's a game where okay, you get a win there. Everybody's walking a little bit taller, and you're feeling pretty good about things. And now there is sort of that stress, like, hey, let's break this wall down. How are we going to do it? But I think your question's a good one because yeah, I do think. Though that's not an easy place to play anymore, used to be, isn't anymore. I mean, Purdue found that out. They lost there. I do think it's one of the more gettable games in the schedule this month. And after you played Michigan State in a tough environment, pretty close for 34, 35 minutes, and you really felt like you could have beat Ohio State. I mean, those are two top 15 teams. There's no reason you can't believe that you can go there and be right there and win this game. So that's the way they got to look at it. They got to say, hey, we went toe to toe with two pretty good teams for about, 75 of the 80 minutes the last two nights out. Let's go put another 40 minutes together, tighten it up a little bit on defense, turn it over a few less times, and we probably walk out of there with a win. So I give them a decent shot this Saturday. I think they'll be underdogs, but I like where it's trending at least, and you hope that their confidence doesn't get shot too much by losing these games, that they're at least they're fighting against good teams.
One last question for you. We thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule of all that you have to do in the day. But I have a question with regards to the Huskers and their future, right? So, we know they have about 3 seniors on the team. They're very young right now. What do you think is a couple of key components that would be needed in order to help them to become the team that we foresee them being able to be, being that they're a shooting team, being that they run fast, they play fast, and what components do you think would be needed and necessary to help them to be viable opponents in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think this is where it's tough because there's so much roster turnover now in college basketball. And I mean, even as we look at this Husker team and we say, well, there's some young guys here, we still, I think in the back of our mind, we wonder like, okay, who exactly is going to be here next season? When you were a player on the team, I remember those teams, watching them as a kid, it felt like you're built, 1 year was building into another year. You knew guys would be around a few years and there was a nucleus that was forming there. And that's where I think I'm a little worried about it because I don't know what that nucleus is exactly. Like, I mean, one of your better talents is Bryce McGowan's, but obviously everybody sees, his name pops up on mock drafts and stuff like that. And, you don't know if you're going to have both those guys back next year. And then a guy who you would be around, like Bryden Bock, suffers a season-ending injury. So it's stuff like that that's really tough. But I think to get to one thing about your question that I want to see, I guess, is just toughness. And I thought Fred Hoiberg said an interesting thing like a week ago where he talked about the new recruit they just picked up. He just got on campus, Denham Dawson. And he had a line about how in 2 days of practice he'd been on the floor more than anybody really over the last, I don't know how long, but he basically was saying Denham Dawson had been diving for, balls on the floor more than they'd seen around there. And that was a nice comment about a new guy. But if I'm one of the guys in that locker room who's been around, I'm also taking that like, we got to step it up here. I mean, this young guy just came in here and the coach is saying something about a guy like that and how he's getting after it and going after the ball and getting on the floor and stuff like that. I would take that to heart and say, I got to be that too. So I don't see what goes on behind closed doors, but when Fred Hoiberg said that, it kind of got my attention. And you just want to see that toughness and where every loose ball, you're going for it and you're trying to make that winning play, knowing how close you've been and that could be the difference. So that's what I hope we see the rest of the way. I do think the last 5 days or so of Husker basketball, even though they lost, have been a little encouraging. So they need to get a win Saturday, and maybe that gets them going a little bit. So I'm hopeful they can, because I think it's a team that hasn't given up. And now you just want to see that one or two extra plays, and maybe it takes getting on the floor or whatever to do that.
He's Brian Christopherson of 24/7 Sports. Brian, thanks for letting us borrow some of your time today.
Yep, thanks a lot for having me, guys.
Yep, there he goes, Brian Christopherson of 24/7 Sports. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we got to carry on the tradition of afternoons around here at 93.7 The Ticket. It's Thirsty Thursday with Myers Cork and Bottle. Jake Sorensen will jump in studio with me as well, since we'll have some wine, we'll have some nice drinking. Strick, maybe you can grab a glass for yourself at home, and we'll get. Yeah, we'll get to all that next year on the Block with Strick and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket.
South Lincoln has a new place for you to catch all sporting events. The Upside Bar and Lounge is your destination for Monday Night Football, UFC fight nights, and more. It's a great place to meet friends to enjoy great drinks and food, with plenty of TVs to catch all the action. There's easy access and free parking and comfortable seating for groups. And don't forget happy hour from 3 to 6 p.m. each weekday. There's specials every night, including taco night on Mondays and burger baskets on Tuesdays. That's at the Upside Bar and Lounge at 27th and Pine Lake.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your NTV first alert weather tonight. Mostly cloudy, not as cold. Overnight lows 5 above. Mostly sunny, a bit warmer. Friday highs 23, around 48 on Saturday. I'm Chief Forecaster Ken Fountain for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez-Clary.
The likelihood that you're going to have a guy that's as talented or even a step up from what you shipped away in Adrian Martinez, right? That's slim. You're going to have to conform your offense, your game plan to this quarterback, and this quarterback and all those guys on that offensive side of the ball are going to have to buy in this season. And that's one thing, right, is that this coaching staff has to relay that message that there is no choice.
Yeah.
You're either bought in or we're going to do this thing without you.
Weekdays from 2 to 3 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order online now from the new Wingstop located at 5001 O Street. Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season, enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Why wait until Friday to start your weekend?
Go ahead, start right now.
You're thirsty now, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to help you stock up.
Just in time for the weekend when I like to hit the clubs.
Time to broaden your horizons and try some new wine and beer. It's Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer from Meyer's Cork and Bottle.
Woo! There it goes.
Oh.
You know it's
That
time
was a
for
good one.
Myers Cork and Bottle and Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Myers popping bottles and what is that? Clicking open cans?
Popping bottles, popping cans,
Popping cans,
tabs.
popping tabs. There it is.
There you go.
Look at Strick, by the way.
Oh,
Strick on the
Strick's
video stream
joining
has got a glass of wine. He is partaking from afar.
Now, unfortunately, because of the way this works out, we have to mute Strick, or is he
No,
still
he's
with
here.
us?
You can hear Strick.
I am here and present.
Nice.
He's got a glass of wine.
Attaboy. Well, I knew that you were a wine guy just from listening to the show, and so you and I need to hook up. Maybe we can get you in for a Thirsty Thursday here and there, and we'll try some stuff out together.
We've got to make it happen, baby. I love it.
All right.
Yeah, Strick's got his wine. He's ready, but it's not quite as good as our wine. What are we drinking today?
I bet he's got
It's that top of the line. It's that top of the line. That 2015, 2014.
Oh, baby.
Strick, what are you drinking, man?
This is a Miomi.
Okay,
I've had that before. It's
the
great
Pinot
wine.
Noir.
Pinot Noir.
Yeah, that's #1 selling Pinot Noir in America, done by the Wagner
He's
family.
doing well. He's doing fine.
That's good stuff.
I was trying to downplay whatever he's got so that we could, prop up what you got here. That's the point of the segment, right?
I mean, my philosophy is I'm never going to bring anybody down or bring myself up a level by bringing anybody else down.
Oh,
so
okay.
The rising tide raises all ships, Bock.
Okay, that's a good way to go about it. What are we drinking today? As you pass it,
we're doing wine first. We're going wine first.
Wine
all right.
first.
All right, wine
We're
first
going
today.
wine first because the beer, I think, is going to be a little on the sweet side. And
Okay.
what happens if you drink something sweet and then go to a dry wine, it has the same sensation of brushing your teeth and drinking orange juice, which isn't all that pleasant. So
No, that's not great.
what we are having is called Don Ramon, and it is a Spanish red blend. It's 75% Old Vine Grenache and 25% Tempranillo, and it comes from a place called Campo de Borja in sort of south central Spain.
Oh, okay.
And what's kind of cool about the Spanish wines is that you get this really unique smoky spice on the finish. So it pairs nicely with anything that's got like paprika and cumin and spicier food, just because that's the kind of food that they eat. And so there's always a good reason why wines of a region pair well with foods of a region. And the Spanish wines, are no exception to that. So if you wanted to do a paella, or I love it with Mexican food too. So you can do it with like chicken enchiladas or, your favorite tacos or that sort of thing. You cheers and Strick. And
Yeah, and
I can't see him, so I don't know what's going on.
And Strick cheers back. So way to go, Strick. This is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Well, I definitely look forward to it. I always like a good sweet blend. I'm not afraid of a good Malbec or a solid cab. I'm definitely a red guy, but it looked like that's pretty nice.
Yeah. The other thing I really like about the Spanish Reds is that you get a lot of bang for your buck. So these are on the shelf for $14.
Okay.
And to me, it drinks like a $25 or $30 bottle. And, it's a great, easy to make meal to have with this. Put a little olive oil in a pan, cut up some green pepper and onion, maybe throw a little jalapeno in there, saute those vegetables, get them nice and caramelized. And then if you had some grilled chicken breast on the side, just chop that up, put the vegetables over the top, maybe a little cheese, and you're good to go. And a wine like this would be perfect.
Why are the Spanish wines a really good bang for your buck? Is there
That's a good question, Buck?
Yeah, is there an overwhelming reason, or is it just kind of work out that way?
I think the principal reason is that Spain has more acres planted under vine per cap or per size than any other country in the world. So it's prolifically planted with wine grapes.
It's a lot of product.
Yeah, a lot of product. And a lot of these wine producers are families that are, 10, 15, 18 generations long. And so they're not having to buy all new equipment. They're not having to buy their own land. They're not having to, start all this from scratch. It's been handed down through the generations. And there are a lot of producers that are reinvesting to modernize what they've been doing to do it, a little bit differently than they have in the past. But at the same time, if you don't have that capital startup expense and you can continue to make wine and hand it down through the generations, it's a lot easier to turn a profit that way.
Yeah.
When everything's bought and paid for.
All right, let's go around the room real quick. Sorensen, what did you think?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Now, I am a like Strick, who's bringing Wyoming. I'm a big Pinot Noir fan. I like cabs. I mean, this is good. This is right in the same family, of course, in the reds. It's tasty. I would drink a bottle of this.
See, and
not all at one time, people. All right, easy,
I would.
easy.
I would.
Oh yeah.
But the
responsibly, of course.
The main difference between this and say like a Wyoming or a big cab is this is an old world style. And when you're talking old world, you're talking Italian wines, you're talking French wines, you're talking Spanish wines, and they don't want for you to taste what they call, or they want you to taste what they call the terroir, which is the terrain. That's the soils in which the grapes are grown. American wines, your New World wines, your Wyomings, your Napa cabs, we'd like you to taste the fruit. It's what they call fruit forward. So you get that up front, black cherry and plum and all those types of things. And so it's a little more muted up front with the big fruit, but then you get that, like I say, that savory, smoky spice on the back end.
Taste the smoke for sure.
Which just makes it, it doesn't make it better or worse. It just makes it different. And so the fun for me in what I do for a living is that I get to expose people to things that they wouldn't normally just seek out for themselves. And so there's nothing that gets me more excited in my day-to-day job where someone comes in and says, hey, I like cabs, or I like, Wyoming, or I like this or that. Show me something different I can try. And then, and so we go through what that is and why. And then they'll come back later and say, hey, that was awesome. Show me something else. And so we're constantly working to try to expand people's horizons. And that's what's great about the show, too, is that, I've done the show with Happer. I've done the show with Mark. I've done the show with all the way dating back to Adrian Fiala. I mean, we've been doing it since the station started. And it's a journey that we've gotten to take together every week. And that's just fun for me.
When you mentioned that you get to introduce this to people, do you find that maybe your customers, or just customers in general, I suppose, are hesitant to buy something if they can't read it per se, if it's in a different language? Obviously, usually there's some English on there, but do you think that does hold some people back just because they can't read about it, I suppose?
Oh, absolutely. And especially if you're in a place, let's just say you're in a grocery store. A lot of these grocery stores have pretty decent wine selections anymore, but what are you buying? And then who do you get help from?
Right.
And that's our biggest niche. That's what we do. That's what we provide is the best selection in the city, and B, the most knowledgeable staff in the city. So when you come in, we can ask you just a few brief questions about what your tastes are, what you feel comfortable spending, what are you having with the meal? Is it all by itself? Are you celebrating something? Just a few basic questions. and we can outfit you with the right product. And 9 times out of 10, it might not be something that you would just look at on the shelf and choose for yourself. But the other thing is that, if we choose a wine for you and you don't like it, you can bring it back and go, hey, this didn't really work. I'll comp that back and we'll get you something that does. But I would say that happens so rarely. I would say 99 times out of 100, the people that we help pick out wines go, that was awesome. And I probably wouldn't have tried that on my own, so.
Yeah. Very
real
cool
quick. I got one last thing. What do you recommend for a green, person that is not really a wine drinker, looking to kind of get into the, get their taste buds wet a little bit about wine? And how would you approach them? Do you think they start with a Moscato, or do what's your thought on that as far as somebody that's kind of green?
That's kind of the natural progression, is that you would typically start with something a little bit sweeter and then gradually work your way drier. Now, you don't necessarily have to start with like a Moscato. Although that would be a good starting point. German Riesling is a great way to start, because even within German Riesling, there's 6 or 7 different levels of sweetness. And so you can start with sort of the medium to sweeter and then gradually work your way drier just in Riesling alone. And then I would say like Pinot Grigio would be another good step, because those wines are so light. So even though they're dry, meaning that essentially the absence of sugar, the wines are light enough in body that someone that generally likes a sweeter wine can adjust to that and appreciate what it tastes like. And then once you do that, then it opens into other areas, like, you get into your bigger buttery Chardonnays, or then venture into like a Pinot Noir, like a Meiomi or something along those lines. And then the doors just come off the hinges, and you have all the options in the world.
All right, let's move to our beer here. And by the way, you're selling up your staff, and as well you should. Great staff. We've had some of those people on before too.
What's the AP on that one?
Here it goes. Oh, you'll have to have Kevin ask that.
The alcohol content on the wine or on the beer?
On the beer.
On the beer. So
let's see what we got.
Because I'm going to be honest, Kevin. I like a good, just a really good import. I don't drink if I don't really like beer, I don't drink anything like the Miller Lights and the Ultras. If I'm going to do it, I want like a Modelo or a Red Stripe or a nice APA or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Something you can taste.
Yeah.
And shoot, I turned 50 this year, and my days of drinking, 10 Busch Lights are over.
Come on, you can still do that.
No Old English 800 or
Old East.
There's always a place for 10
40
Busch
hands.
Lights.
No,
40 dogs.
But for me, I'd rather drink 1 or 2 beers that I can taste and last me a while versus drink 10 that I'm just pounding all night. And it's just part of getting older. And so I'm like you, Strick. I like something that's going to be have a little more flavor, something that maybe a little bit. I also like a good IPA. That's mostly what I drink. But sometimes I'm not really in the mood for hops, and like to just boil it down to its least common denominator and drink a good lager. But this is it's called Haagen-Dazs. It's a mochaccino milkshake porter. Whoa. And these come in at about 6% ABV. It's from a brewery called Blue Creek out of Columbia, Missouri. And it's meant to be a little bit sweeter, meant to have some chocolate, meant to have some coffee notes in there. Basically what they do is that they roast the malts, and so it gives it a darker color and a little bit richer color, and then they're adding some extracts to give you that sort of cafe mocha flavor. So it's kind of a, it's almost like Starbucks and a brewery made a baby, and this is what we're drinking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're a coffee
that's a
fan,
description right there.
Yeah, if you're a coffee fan, this might be a little bit dangerous for you. Talking about maybe you can't put 10 of these down because it's a little thicker, but still you could get in trouble.
Yeah, a little thicker, a little sweeter. Comes in at 6, so it's not super high ABV, but it definitely higher than like a regular Budweiser or something along those lines. But still pretty easy to drink. I don't know again, like if I would drink like 10 of them, but one of them would be.
It reminds me a little bit of what was the PBR beer they brought, that new one they had?
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
you brought it in one time.
I did.
What was that?
It was
It's not PBR coffee.
well, it was, and it kind of tasted like a Yoo-hoo.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. It isn't
and
quite like this, but it's on
not
the same,
quite
it's in
like
the
this.
same
It's still-
family.
yeah,
same
that-
family.
That was a beer imposter.
Wait,
This is actually a real
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
beer.
it's the same family. This
Yeah,
is
I
more
brought it in for the
beerish than that
novelty.
one was.
I got a quick question. With
Yeah, yeah.
regards to beer, top 3 beer makers in the world. Is it Germany? Is it Australia? Is it Italy? I mean, I'm just a good question. I just want to know.
Are you talking in
Like,
terms
who
of
makes
volume?
it? Who? No. I'm saying who makes that really good
top end.
Is it Irish beer? Is it German beer? Is it because everybody says when I go to German, I'm trying to toss it up and I'm getting wet. So I just your opinion. I mean, what's your thoughts as far as the best country beer makers in the world?
Well, I would say Germany is certainly up there, and partly because of what they have, what they call the German purity law. And so they have this law that says you can only make beer that consists of water, grain, hops, and yeast. That's it. So none of this mochaccino flavoring, none of this other adjuncts and whatever else. So their beers are as pure and as clean and fundamental as you can possibly get. So if I'm making an analogy to basketball, German beers are the Tim Duncan of beers.
All
right. So not flashy,
not flashy,
but
gets the job done.
Never gonna make a mistake either.
Yeah.
And
I like it.
And so I just for that reason and the purity and the basic foundation of it, I'd put Germany right up there. I really like Irish beers too. I think they're more about fun and kind of getting a little bit silly with it. And but there's such a wide array of diversity in beer these days, especially with all the microbrews, especially in the United States. You go to the East Coast and they have their own style of IPA, and the West Coast has their own style of IPA, and then you've got all these bourbon barrel aged stouts and all these high octane beers, and they just are getting more and more and more creative all the time. And so I would say in terms of overall diversity, the U.S. probably makes a broader array of quality beers than any other country in the world.
Wow.
But I would say those would be my top 3: Germany, Ireland, and the U.S.
U.S. Nice.
It's good to still be in the mix. And number 1, it's something for the United States. I did want to get to the text line too, because there are some questions coming off of there. Jeremy asked Kevin, are you seeing more and more pastry stouts and sours from your distributors? And what are your thoughts on them?
We're seeing just a wide array of everything. Everything is hitting the fan all the time. And I feel like every beer has its place. Now, as a retailer and kind of an older soul, it's increasingly difficult because every brewery is coming out with a new beer every week or every month. And so it's like, and by the time it gets a following, or you can start wrapping your head around it. Well, that beer's gone and now there's a new one coming out. And so I wouldn't want to try to be a brewer right now, trying to have my finger on the pulse of what, gets people excited, what makes people tick in the beer world. But yeah, sours are a big thing. They're utilizing a yeast that actually, used to be considered something that would ruin your beer. Now they're actually inoculating the beers with that in order to make them sour. And then pastry stouts, meaning like similar to what we're tasting right now. So mochaccino milkshake porter, or coffee barrel aged, bourbon barrel aged stout, and it just goes on and on and on. And so I think it's cool because the diversity is so complex, but it's also from a retailer standpoint, trying to stay on top of it is a nightmare. So it has its pluses and minuses for sure.
Well, we are actually up against the clock, unfortunately, but another great session with you again, Kevin. And I wanted to say before we get out, I've been trying to plug it all this whole show. I love your sign, the sign on South Street. Like I said, yeah, you talked up your staff, which is in your selection, very, very good. But that sign draws me in every time.
All right, cool. Yeah, the old school neon. It's still the real deal.
Also, lastly, tell us how we can find you.
We're at the corner of 13th and South Streets. Our phone number is 476-1518. If you ever need anything, feel free to reach out. Give us a call. You can email me, wineguys@windstream.net. or check out the website, myerswine.com.
All right, there he goes. Kevin Meyer of Myers Cork and Bottle. Always a great segment. When we come back, your chance to win a shootout with Strick. Give us a call, 402-464-5685 for our game show. That's coming up next here on the Block with Strick and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Hines. Over the holiday break, Lincoln Northeast secured the Heartland Athletic Conference Tournament Championship over Lincoln Pius X, 51-48. Gottner for Northeast led all scorers with 19. The undefeated Lincoln Northeast Rockets now sit at 9-0, and Lincoln Pius sits at 6-3. For the girls, Fremont would walk away with the championship, also beating Lincoln Pius X, 59-47. McGabe for Fremont led all scorers with 20. Fremont now leads the Class A girls by power points in the NSAA rankings with a record of 7-1. Lincoln Pius sits at 4th with a record of 7-2. In the Shelby Rising City Wrestling Invitational, Grant Wells from Lincoln Lutheran won the 126 championship weight class by decision in a match versus Mosel from Plainview, who was previously undefeated. Lincoln Lutheran would finish 9th out of 12 teams. In the Bennington duels, Lincoln East would finish 1st as a team out of 10. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know, we felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season. Enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games. South Lincoln has a new place for you to catch all sporting events. The Upside Bar and Lounge is your destination for Monday Night Football, UFC fight nights, and more. It's a great place to meet friends to enjoy great drinks and food, with plenty of TVs to catch all the action. There's easy access and free parking and comfortable seating for groups. And don't forget happy hour from 3 to 6 p.m. each weekday. There's specials every night, including taco night on Mondays and burger baskets on Tuesdays. That's at the Upside Bar and Lounge at 27th and Pine Lake.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
You heard the man. It's time to play our game Shootout with Strick here on 93.7 The Take. Call right now, 402-464-5685 on the Honda of Lincoln hotline for your chance to win $15 of Buffalo Wings and Rings chicken. Of course, just Strick will be fighting on behalf of the people, so if you lose, the third caller will get the chicken, so we will see. But we need a contestant. 402-464-5685. Your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. And if you haven't heard the contest so far, it's not too hard. It's an either or. You'll get 4 questions, so you can't be too wrong. You might pick the wrong answer, and then you get a money ball question, which is open-ended. But you only got 40 seconds to do it. So we will run through Strick's score first. Give us a call, 402-464-5685. But first, we'll see what Strick, what you have to do to beat Strick. And Strick, I wanted to tell you the topic is, of course, we're talking a lot today about Casey Thompson and some of the portal quarterbacks. So the topic is where these quarterbacks have landed, or in some cases, before they take classes, it's not official, but where they are projected to land or where they have landed. I've announced that they've landed. So we will give it a trial run. And again, 402-464-5685 for your chance to win. Strick, are you ready for your round?
I am ready.
All right, here we go.
I'm winning tonight, though, Bock. Doggone it.
Yeah,
I
you're
ain't taking no
0-2
L.
so far. You're 0-2 so far, so we better get a win here. All right, 3, 2, 1. Where's Ohio State quarterback Quinn Ewers? Has he chosen USC or Texas?
Texas.
He has chosen Texas. That's 1. UCF quarterback Dylan Gabriel, OU or LSU?
OU.
That's 2. A&M quarterback Zach Calzada, Auburn or Oregon?
Auburn.
He has chosen Auburn. That's 3. Ohio State quarterback Zach Miller, Florida or Florida State?
Florida State.
It's Florida. What Big Ten school did former quarterback A.J. Bush finish his career at?
Utah.
Oh, it was Illinois, but 3 points. That's a pretty good score that we'll see if a contestant can beat. Guys, I know you're scared. You're scared about what can possibly happen. But there's $15 Buffalo Wings and Rings on the line. So give us a call, 402-464-5685. It won't be too hard to win. Now, Strick, you did put up a pretty good score there. 3 points. I think that might be your record, but you left the money ball
crossover. Little crossover with a hesitation and pull on that.
Yeah. You hit your first 3 even. So we have a challenger waiting. We're just waiting to get his name here to get his or her name, I should say. Maybe getting 3 points. We could go to a tiebreaker, by the way, if it does end up being a tie. But hopefully Strick's looking for his first win. So he's hoping that our contestant doesn't do too well. And our contestant, as Big Sky is writing the name down, it is Brandon. Brandon, how you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you guys today?
Oh, not too bad. Have you been paying attention to the portal quarterbacks?
Oh, a little bit.
Well,
Brandon, you taking an L today, though, Brandon. I don't care. I'm shooting.
Strick's going for the win. All right, you got to get 3 to tie him. Anything above that will beat him. Are you ready, Brandon?
Yeah.
All right. OU quarterback Spencer Rattler, South Carolina or Virginia Tech?
What was that?
South Carolina quarterback or Oklahoma quarterback Spencer Rattler. South Carolina. Yeah, I give you the answer there. All right. USC quarterback Keaton Slovis. Did he go to Virginia or Pittsburgh?
Virginia.
Actually went to Pittsburgh. Auburn quarterback Bo Nix. Oregon or Texas A&M?
Texas A&M.
Actually, Oregon. Indiana quarterback Michael Penix. Washington State or Washington?
Washington.
What Pac-12 school did former Husker quarterback? I didn't get it off the money ball.
No!
Thanks for playing today, but you got 2 points. So Strick, I think it was the intimidation that happened, or maybe the fact you couldn't hear me for the first question. In any case, thank you for playing. But because Strick won, the third caller will now get $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. You don't even have to do anything to win. Strick's already done that for you. The third caller will get the $15. Strick, you get your first win. Of course, the first one you kind of won, but we threw that up through an exhibition. But you get your first win in your game show. Congratulations.
Strick for the people.
That's right. Strick is for the people. And we will let you know who called in and got that win around the corner. But we also have plenty more to go. We've been talking about the transfer quarterback all day. Casey Thompson will bring that back up. Wanda Robinson declared for the draft. So what does that mean kind of for Nebraska? Reflecting back on it, Antonio Brown's story gets a little bit more wild today, as it seems to every day. And then we'll finish out the next hour hitting the hard with Strick and talking about some NBA action, including his former teammate Dirk Nowitzki, who had his number retired last night. All that will be coming up next here on the Block with Strick and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
South Lincoln has a new place for you to catch all sporting events. The Upside Bar and Lounge is your destination for Monday Night Football, UFC fight nights, and more. It's a great place to meet friends to enjoy great drinks and food, with plenty of TVs to catch all the action. There's easy access and free parking and comfortable seating for groups. And don't forget happy hour from 3 to 6 p.m. each weekday. There's specials every night, including taco night on Mondays and burger baskets on Tuesdays. That's at the Upside Bar and Lounge at 27th and Pine Lake.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Hines. Over the holiday break, Lincoln Northeast secured the Heartland Athletic Conference Tournament Championship over Lincoln Pius X, 51-48. Gottner for Northeast led all scorers with 19. The undefeated Lincoln Northeast Rockets now sit at 9-0, and Lincoln Pius sits at 6-3. For the girls, Fremont would walk away with the championship, also beating Lincoln Pius X, 59-47. McGabe for Fremont led all scorers with 20. Fremont now leads the Class A girls by power points in the NSAA rankings with a record of 7-1. Lincoln Pius sits at 4th with a record of 7-2. In the Shelby Rising City Wrestling Invitational, Grant Wells from Lincoln Lutheran won the 126 championship weight class by decision in a match versus Mosel from Plainview, who was previously undefeated. Lincoln Lutheran would finish 9th out of 12 teams. In the Bennington duels, Lincoln East would finish 1st as a team out of 10. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljob.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today. At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Beatrice Bakery has been serving Nebraska with one-of-a-kind Grandma's Fruitcake since 1964. You already know that, but did you know they offer way more than that? You've got to try their line of liqueur cakes, like the strawberry daiquiri cake or the vanilla rum cake. Or what about their breakfast breads, the banana nut bread, or their various streusel coffee cakes? Whatever the occasion, Beatrice Bakery has something for you. Oh yeah, and Grandma's Fruitcake? It's still pretty darn good. Beatrice Bakery, located in downtown Beatrice, or always online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
The likelihood that you're going to have a guy that's as talented or even a step up from what you shipped away in Adrian Martinez, right? That's slim. You're going to have to conform your offense, your game plan to this quarterback, and this quarterback and all those guys on that offensive side of the ball are going to have to buy in this season. And that's one thing, right, is that this coaching staff has to relay that message that there is no choice.
Yeah.
You're either bought in or we're going to do this thing without you.
Weekdays from 2 to 3 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick Bock. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three. And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega. I like pepper.
Coming at you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick Bock. Hold up.
We are back on the block with Strick and Buck. I'm Jake Bakoven. He is Eric Strickland, and he is still drinking some wine. We're done with the wine segment, Strick. Oh, sipping some wine, yeah.
Sipping. Yeah, I'm not taking it to the face. I'm sipping.
That's right. You still got some going. I drank
sipping
all
on
mine.
the block. Sipping on. Hey,
Yeah.
that should have been. Hey, maybe that could have been a little sidebar name, huh? That little segment we call it "Sipping on the Block."
Yeah, we might have to pitch that to Kevin Meyer. It was for a long time. It's been Thirsty Thursdays, but we can switch it up. It's
I
our
like
show.
that. No, I like Thirsty
He likes
Thursday.
it too.
You know,
yeah,
the crazy thing, man. Here's the crazy thing, right? My little brother, his name is his name, he goes by Bobby Sango. He lives out in LA. He has a song called Thirst Trap. And he goes, and part of on Thursdays, he says it's Thirst Trap Thursdays. So Thirsty Thursdays is what he really likes to, kind of go with. So he has a song out. He actually has a rap song out called Thirst Trap. And I said, that's pretty cool, So I don't know. Maybe I might have to add that beat, since it's a Thursday. I might have to add that beat to our little segment. Pop my little brother in there, Bobby Sango.
Absolutely, got to get. It's our show, so we can.
It's our show, dang
what
it.
we want with it. So let's plug your friends. Absolutely, I'll have to look that song up afterwards as well. A lot of people are making jokes, although not necessarily not a joking manner, but whatever the case may be, it seems like we've gone full circle. Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert has entered health and safety protocols. Of course,
trouble.
Yeah, famously has had the kind of the COVID mic touching situation. And of course, when he got COVID, if you remember, Tom Hanks got COVID, Fred Hoiberg
set it
was
off.
sick. That whole day was just crazy.
Set
And
it
then
off.
after that, all the leagues kind of changed their policies and the world just kind of changed from that day. Hopefully
He's
Rudy
all right.
Gobert will be okay. Yeah, I mean, he's one of many getting COVID, and it's frustrating, but it is leading to other guys and we'll talk about this later in the NBA segment, maybe if we get to it. But other guys like Lance Stevenson, Mario Chalmers, Isaiah Thomas back in the league getting their opportunity.
Crazy.
Even Gerald Green, who was a Houston Rockets assistant coach, has decided to unretire and go back to the G League in hopes of getting an opportunity. And he's always had some options.
Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, crazy.
Are you
hops.
thinking about it, Strick?
Crazy hop. Listen, don't think I didn't think about it. I said, dang, if I wasn't just so in bad shape and this Achilles wasn't acting up,
yeah,
I'd go sit in a corner and try to hit a 3 or 2, make that little money. Why not? They're giving it away right now.
Yeah, you make a long awaited return.
Pop in on the Mavs and say, hey, what's happening?
That would be awesome. Hopefully we get to see that someday, but you gotta work on that Achilles, obviously, like you said. So.
No
bueno.
People ask me that all the time, Bock. They say, Strick, do you miss it, or do you, would you, and I tell them, nah, I don't want to be chasing these cats now. They come off way. I thought Reggie Miller and the likes of them went off screens, and Ray Allen and all them, and Allen Iverson. These cats these days is pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll. You got to come out. You got to get through 10 different screens before you freaking get a shot. No, I don't want no parts of that.
So we'll be looking forward to that. That's at the end of the hour. Hitting the hard with Strick when we talk about some of his NBA days, and his former teammate Dirk Nowitzki, who had his jersey raised to the rafters, or jersey retired at least, by the Dallas Mavericks yesterday. But I did want to start off with the news of the day in Husker land, I should say, is that Casey Thompson was in Lincoln yesterday. Many of the schools on his list of top 5 schools are finding their quarterback today in the portal. Indiana did that. Auburn did that. Missouri, there's reports out of Missouri that they're not necessarily full go on Casey Thompson right now. So it's kind of interesting. It's basically seemingly down to Nebraska and Oklahoma if you go based off his top list, and Oklahoma has their quarterback in Dylan Gabriel already, I should say. So it looks like better chances than not that Casey Thompson will end up in a Husker uniform, and that's ultimately the goal. I don't know if he crosses off all the checklists that you want if you were going into this portal session looking for an absolute stud, but he is a guy with veteran experience. He's a guy that still has 2 years to play. I think that's a big deal as far as instead of getting a plug and play that would just have one. So there's potential for the future, and he's lit up a few Big 12 defenses in the past, has a little bit of a turnover prone issue, has had some stinkers of games as well where he got pulled. But, as far as a guy with experience that you can hopefully plug and play right away, they're close to him. And I think Husker fans should be excited about the potential addition to Casey Thompson. Though the one thing is, and Strick will ask you about this as a former Husker, he's the son of a Sooner. He's a former Longhorn. Is that going to be hard to cheer for a guy with that type of background?
No, I really don't. I don't think so. And to be honest, I am interested to see how it goes, because he's had 4 and 5. He's had 5 and a 6 touchdown. I think against Kansas, he had a 6 touchdown game against it, and he was doing a lot of that injured. And so I'm interested to see how he is. I think mentally he'll be able to come. I think they need to definitely make sure some pieces are there to help him. To be able to be the type of quarterback that he's able to be. I also, when you really think about it, though, Bock, when you look at the 2 options between Oklahoma and Nebraska, who will play each other, right?
That's right.
In Lincoln. So I think when I look at that, I think the fact that everybody and their mama's hightailing it out of Oklahoma right now, and you've got to look at that you really lose one significant piece in Samari Toure, but you still have a pretty good young group of receivers to also add in. He's got a great name.
The coldest? The coldest?
Huh? The coldest.
Yes, the
it's
coldest.
Cold in Nebraska. The coldest. Yeah, they got him coming in, and they've got bats, and so he's got some weapons that he can look to throw to, right? So the uncertainty at Oklahoma, and understanding that Whipple and what Whipple's been able to do, out at Pitt, and what he's done with quarterbacks, so forth and so on. I think when you look at it, it looks pretty good for the Huskers to be able to land Casey Thompson.
Well, yeah, and I think too. Hopefully, we can see Logan Smothers stick around because I think he showed that he was capable. And injuries it's part of football, so you need to have a backup in that spot. And for what it's worth, it looks like they're still going to be going after Brock Purdy's younger brother, Chuba Purdy, who was coming over, transferring from Florida State. And again, his decision is not final either, but he's visiting Lincoln as well. And I think that's the best of both worlds, right? I mean, maybe you'd rather.
He's got 4 years left, right?
He's got a lot of time. That's what I'm saying. Is if you get a guy with 2 years, you get a guy with 4 years out of the portal. Purdy's almost like a high school edition, but a high end one who was pretty highly regarded, and of course his brother had a great career over there at Iowa State. I think that's the best of both worlds, is to bring in what you need right away is stability right away, and a starter to kind of plug and play and at least really push Logan Smothers if he's not going to be the smart starter, and then kind of a longer term project to put into that room. So I think the quarterback room is rounding out. We'll see. I mean, it's still, I think, a bit of a tough sell. We'll see if they get him. You can do different ways of grading the coaching staff this offseason. I mean, if you really wanted Caleb Williams and you weren't going to come down, or Spencer Rattler from that, then you might not give him a great grade. But in my mind, to be able to both get a long-term plan and a short-term plan in, if they indeed are able to do that, is a great sale, considering where their coaching staff is. And it's kind of out there and known in the ethosphere that they need to win now. Otherwise, the whoever's committing, if Purdy commits, he might not be around the staff for too long, and that might not be his choice.
Yeah, and then I mean the thing is too is they've got a good couple of weeks, so the timing is perfect to be able to get them in, to be able to really talk to them, to really sit them down, to really express what type of offense that they're running, and to have those conversations before they have to really make a decision and get in before the spring session starts on the 18th. So I think the timing is perfect to be able to get them in here and be able to have a good assessment talk and communication with them and understanding what they're doing.
Yeah, it'll be exciting the next few days to see if they finally land these guys. I mean, I'm kind of celebrating as if they have, just because it's kind of narrowed down, and I just want them to grab somebody to get the answer, right? We've all been kind of antsy for weeks to see and try to visualize what this new offense is going to look like with the dynamic additions that they've had at offensive coordinator, at wide receiver coach, and a good name in Donovan Raiola at the offensive line as well. This offense could look completely different, and now you can kind of start to visualize it a little bit if they do get Casey Thompson in on the fold. I did want to bring this up too, is that Wando Robinson has declared for the draft. Of course, former Husker, and went off to Kentucky, had a career year there, a great year, I should say, as far as the all-time leader, I think, in yards at Kentucky for a single
season. He broke the record for the single season, yeah.
1,334. That would certainly break the record at Nebraska too. That's a heck of a year for him. As you look at his size, 5'11", 185, that was kind of what some people here in Nebraska tried to hold him back, I suppose, and say, well, he's not a next level type of guy. He's going early, and I think projections have him at second or third round pick.
Third round.
Because of what he was able to do at Kentucky. The size shouldn't bother you, considering you've seen guys, undersized, maybe not at that position, but like a Darren Sproles go in there, or Rondale Moore was a good comparison Nick Sainert was making earlier, where, that slot position, he could still play in there. The thing is, he's going to get a lot of big time hits in that slot position, so they got to work to not throw him into that. And that was kind of a problem at Nebraska. Him and JD Spielman, I think, during a certain time, was just kind of smaller guys taking big hits across the middle, because that was the only thing they could get him open with. But does his size bother you at all going to the next level?
Well, I think there's a difference that you've got to look at, right? It's different from let's say. What's great? It's different from a quarterback of the qualities that they're going to have in the NFL throwing to him out of the slot than Adrian Martinez, right? Because they'll know how to get that ball to him, the places that need to be. When you look at a Julian Edelman, when you look at a Cole Beasley, when you look at the likes of them, you can see that there's possibility there for them. The awesome thing also about him is that he's not a limited guy just out of the slot, right? He can catch punts, he can do kickoff, he can do special teams. He can also run out of slot. You've got a lot of jet sweep type guys. Look at Tyreek Hill type. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he has the speed of a Tyreek Hill, but he definitely has the ability to make plays, because if you look at his abilities to break tackle and his run after catch was a high level out of the SEC, which is if you really look at it, by far was the best Power 5 conference in the nation. So consistently, and to do that amongst that kind of competition, you would have to look at him as an option, a potential option to pick up, and to get that much out of one player is a win for a potential NFL organization. You get a faceted person who can do a lot of different things on your team that you only have to pay one salary for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fun to follow him along. It was kind of fun to follow him at Kentucky, but also sad. I mean, it's kind of wraps up the college career of a guy that just in 1 year at Kentucky did more than he did 2 years at Nebraska. That's despite Nebraska leaning very, very heavily on him and giving him carries and giving him receptions and using him kind of any way they could, but maybe using him in the wrong types of ways, I think, will be the way that it's looked back upon, and I think that's fair. I mean, the guy went out and is one of the best receivers in the SEC. What was he doing? Running up the middle on.
And he said that. He said that.
Yeah.
He said, he was at practice one day. Guys were coming off of a blitz. It was like it was a form of a crossing blitz of some sort, and he had to block. He tried to cut the guy, and the guy basically, dropped the hammer on him a little bit, and he was like, "Yo, what? This ain't it." You know what I'm saying? And so he kind of knew at that point, this ain't for me. And I think that Kentucky basically said, we're gonna find just what we can use him for, and they just used him in a variety of different ways, and they had great success at it. I mean, he turned that Kentucky program around, being a part of that organization and that university. Basically, they 12-3. I mean, and then won the bowl game. So shoot, why not? I think you got to go when you're hot, and I think he's hot. They say he's probably, top 15 receiver. So that does put him in that third range, third. So the combines and anything of that sort would help him out a little bit.
Yeah, and of course, what hurts stings a little bit more if you're a Nebraska fan is that Vincent Morrow, former Nebraska graduate assistant coach, ended up being probably maybe the lead recruiter in getting him back over to Kentucky and turning his career around. But it's great to see his talents realized, and I don't know if that would have happened at Nebraska. I do think this, and I said this the day that he transferred, is I think you lost a couple, maybe up to a couple W's on the schedule when you lost him. And certainly it turned out that way, right? So many one possession games, so many chances where just one guy could have made the difference. Though I will say this, if you kept Wandale, you might have not have got Samari too.
Samari, yeah, that's very possible.
Yeah, so I mean, I think overall you still might take Wandale over Samari, but Samari was very, very good replacement there, and helped them in plenty of their bigger games as well. But the other part of that is you just wouldn't trust Nebraska to use Wandale the way Kentucky did anyway, so you wouldn't get that 1,300-yard season from him to begin with. But either way, just kind of a sad story for Husker fans, but a good story for Wandale as he moves on to the next level. We're going to take a quick break, though, and when we come back, we will talk more Husker basketball. They fell short in East Lansing yesterday, so we'll break it down. We had our post-game show. We'll revisit some of those ideas, and then get to Antonio Brown. That continues to be a weird story. Antonio Brown was like tweeting out pictures of maybe
some text messages.
Yeah, and I don't know if those text messages were real or not, but he did get released today, and he did put out the idea that he is not wanting to retire. He wants to come back to football. So we'll break all that stuff down next here on the Block with Strick Bock on 93.7 The Ticket.
Head of my time.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a Ready Next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season, enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
Old School with DP and J.
I understand it. It is a different generation. I think majority of the guys, the majority of the kids coming out of high school, they don't love football. The high majority, you can just see how they play, and they're probably better athletes depth-wise. But why would they love the sport of football when they get everything that you would get out of performing at a high level with average input?
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Your NTV First Alert weather tonight. Mostly cloudy, not as cold. Overnight lows 5 above. Mostly sunny, a bit warmer. Friday highs 23, around 48 on Saturday. I'm Chief Forecaster Ken Fountain for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Ed Orgeron joins us. You have told me before you have a genuine fondness for the state of Nebraska. Why is that?
I always liked Nebraska. Growing up, watching Nebraska, Monty Kiffin, Tom Osborne, the great teams there. I just always liked Nebraska. I just think it's a great school, great state, great football. Tough, hard-nosed football player.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Back to On the Block with Strick Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on the block here with Strick and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Jake Bockoven. Of course, he is Husker Hall of Famer, 9-year NBA vet Eric Strickland. As we still have a half an hour on our show, so we will try to get it as full as we can moving forward. Like I said, I wanted to hit a little bit on Nebraska basketball, but first I did want to get to the Antonio Brown story. Kind of the national story of the day probably is that he was released today. It was expected probably throughout the week after what happened on Sunday when he took off his shoulder pads, took off his shirt, walked off the field in the middle of the game. And of course, it seems to be still a bit of a he said, she said type of affair between the Buccaneers and head coach Bruce Arians and, of course, Antonio Brown. Now, Antonio Brown released also some text messages today to try to show that he was on the right side of the story. But what was weird about those text messages is that the coach would like Bruce Arians would introduce himself and say, "Hey, it's BA." And you would think if you had a coach and a wide receiver, they'd probably have previous text messages, so it wouldn't just be out of the blue. But, maybe that was a possibility. Maybe they were contacting each other a different way before. But kind of still just two sides going against each other. I suppose you can kind of draw for yourself whatever conclusions you want to, but for most people, they'll probably think that given Antonio Brown's past, that this was probably not a situation that is going to end up favorably for him. He still claims that they were trying to get him to play injured, which is interesting because he didn't look too injured, hyping up the crowd, getting off the field.
Well, you know what I mean? Where Brown stated that, he couldn't go full speed and that he would hope that he'd be able to help the team as he maybe felt a little bit better, and he would check back with him, if things felt better on Saturday or something of that nature, where Bruce basically said that he didn't know that he was injured. So there's some of the discrepancy where Bruce Arians stated that he didn't know that he was injured, but then you have the text message, you have the pictures, you have that showing that. So then there's a discrepancy. I mean, these days you have deep fakes, you have all kinds of different, things where you could make somebody's look like they text message you. You have all these different scandals between husbands and wives. I saw the text message. No, that wasn't mine. And then So you really don't know. It's really kind of up in the air. But the one that was weird to me was that even after the conversations with Bruce Arians, it was the one dealing with Tom Brady and Alex Guerrero, which is Tom Brady's longtime trainer. So then it's like AB's going at Tom and posting him in Twitter and what was really weird was posting his bank account on Twitter, and then telling him why are you messing with this guy. But it kind of looks bad on AB because the response, even from Alex Guerrero, was, yeah, sure, I understand. Just tell me where you want me to send you the balance, and I understand we weren't able to fully work together, but here's the balance. I'll send it back to you. And it doesn't say anything bad about the GOAT or anything bad about Alex Guerrero. It kind of looks bad on AB. So you have a whole bunch of just things in the air right now where you don't know what's going on. But even more, you have the fact that he was released. And if it was really that bad for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or it looked really that bad, then I guarantee you they wouldn't have released him, because then you potentially could put yourself in a lawsuit for basically or getting rid of somebody without justified cause, right? So that's the kind of the thing. So it's a lot of craziness going on right now. My thing is he done? Or will somebody touch him? Or who could it be that would touch him? And that's the question I would have for you, Bach. Where do you think he could land if there's some options out there for him? Because I think that somebody could probably use him if he's healthy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think, again, that you're probably looking at next year to kind of get him back going. Maybe a team would like to bring him in for the playoffs for a little bit of help, but I'm not,
because there's COVID stuff, right? There's a lot of COVID protocols out there right now that teams are dealing with injuries or COVID issues. To have a guy like that in at least at your potential usage is something to speak about. I personally think the Cowboys would maybe do a snatch and grab. At this particular instance, the Cowboys is one that I would look at as a potential place for him to land.
Well, you have to remember too, he was suspended for 3 games by the NFL because of the investigation that found he produced a fake COVID-19 vaccination card to begin with. So those, that whole situation is just very strange, and it's been a rocky tenure with Tampa Bay, especially this year. Of course, helped them win a Super Bowl last year, and I think played pretty well in that run. So it's a very weird situation, and I think that there's always room for just maybe misunderstanding, or like you said, I mean, he is saying that maybe Bruce Arians didn't know the extent of his injury, or maybe I guess the Bucs are saying that more so than he is, or so it's just kind of a weird situation. And sometimes it's just like, well, either he's right or the team's right, and maybe there was just some miscommunication in the middle.
One other piece of that though is they basically said, hey, let's get you in and let's have a look at an MRI or something like that, so that we can really get an assessment as to the depth of your injury. And he declined. So that's where it's kind of, some iffy things too. Is he playing coy, or is it really that it is a serious situation?
Yeah. And is he worth my whole thought with the playoff thing is just, though, I mean, he's kind of burned some bridges the last couple of years, and he's been very dramatic this year. Is he worth the risk to disrupt the locker room when you're going into the playoffs specifically? Certainly with just 1 week for anybody that's not going to the playoffs, you don't need to sign him now. So I don't even know. Would have to see, look more into it to see if he would even, clear waivers in time to make the playoff roster. But I think the bigger idea is that he's stated today that he's, I can't remember how he put it, but he's interested in playing moving forward. He's not done with his career. And at this point, who would be willing to take the risk on him next season? As time passes, will enough of this kind of, this kind of just negative energy around him, this toxic energy that he has right now, will it pass enough that people will say, well, he's such a talented guy, we'll give him another shot? I personally think that usually, if enough time passes, it usually does happen. That's why I think Urban Meyer will get another chance at a college job eventually. It'll take some time, and I think that's what it's going to do with Antonio.
That's a crazy thing to think about, right? But then here's the crazy thing that I see with regards to the NFL is that I look at like Josh Gordon, who was like a freak of nature, but yet he had burned a lot of bridges.
Oh yeah,
and had continuously got another opportunity. I look at Randy Gregory, a former Husker, who his situations are a little bit different. I don't think he was a bad locker room guy or
right.
Media potential controversial dude or nothing like that. But he just like to smoke the endo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a little bit different situation. Yeah, man, you just like to smoke the endo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that chemistry in the locker room does mean a lot, and to have that type of disruption potentially, do you want to take that in? But then there are teams like the Cowboys who took in a Terrell Owens, who took in a Randy Moss, and the likes of them when they were kind of having some certain issues and stuff like that. Even took in Greg Hardy, who was dealt with some I think some domestic issues. So it's going to be hard to say. I think a depleted organization that believes they have a shot at it, knowing that they're depleted, not that if they have their guys, like if the Cowboys felt that they had Gallup and they had Cooper and they had CeeDee Lamb and maybe one other behind them that they felt good about, I think they would say, we're good, we don't need that. But to not have a full strength and you're trying to make a run at it, somebody might take a chance. I'm not going to say for sure, but it's possible.
And we have talked a little bit of Husker basketball today, especially with Brian Christopherson of 24/7 Sports. If you missed that, go to theticketfm.com and check out the podcast page. But I did want to get some quick thoughts, as Nebraska has a game. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit tomorrow at Rutgers on Saturday. There'll be 1:00 tip on BTN. Of course, coming off that 79-67 loss to Michigan State. But what was kind of cool about that game was the way that they kind of switched up their strategy, starting to go into Derek Walker more in the paint to create a shot, not just kind of getting rebounds or getting a late, pass. They've done the pick and roll with him a lot, but it seemed like they were trying to run the offense a little bit more through him. That's got to be here to stay, especially after the results we saw last night, right?
Absolutely. So here's the thing, a little bit of just depth to that whole situation that I want to just give out. When you think about it, Bach, you have Derek Walker, because you really saw a different Derek Walker. You saw a very tentative Derek Walker that got the job done. They found him, he finished. He just did Derek Walker yesterday looked like the coaches, they had meetings, they, part of their game plan, and they said, D-Walk, we coming to you, baby. We need you to get it done. We need you to produce. Because he looked like that, like somebody that said, look, we running these specific plays for you, blah, blah, blah. We want you to basically get it done. And that's what he looked like. Because when he faced up, it looked like a whole different Derek Walker than these first games that I saw of Derek Walker, right? He looked like, I'm taking it to you, young fella, and take some of this shoulder and get this bucket. That's the kind of Derek Walker I saw. And so you could tell that there was probably some conversations that was in going into those games as a part of the game plan. And he knew coming in that those opportunities were going to be presented to him, and he produced.
Yeah. And now after that game, shooting 78% for the field, I hope it's weird to
15 shots. Forget 10. Get that man 15.
It's weird to say this, but I hope that drops a little bit, because I hope that means that they're going to him a little bit more and not just relying on him for like putbacks and, like I said, finishing on pick and rolls and stuff when it's open. You're right. I mean, they've given the green light to Bryce McGowan. They've given the green light from deep from Tamanaga. Certainly, Alonzo Verge has had the green light at times. They're probably pulling that back a little bit. It's nice to see them finally give the green light to Derek Walker. And, at times in that game, too, when he was scoring, it was facing up and going up against a good defender and just kind of, traditional type of scoring down in the paint. But he would do it at times when Nebraska really needed a bucket too. So, I mean, he can kind of be that calming presence, or to break a streak is go to Derek. That's what all teams need as an answer. If you're kind of going on one of those, those down streaks where the other team's got all the momentum, is somebody to quiet the crowd, get a bucket, and move on.
And what I loved about it also is I've actually got a chance to work Derek Walker out a few years ago when he was still kind of not playing at the time, and he was waiting for his eligibility to kick in. So I got a chance to work him out a little bit. He was very right-hand dominant. He's worked. You can tell he's put in the work because he's got both hands now. He can work with the left. He can work with the right. He can give you a little shoulder, turn around off of it. He can finish underneath with a little Mikan, type drill. You know what I mean? So he's definitely put in the work, and he's deserving. I would like to see him stay. I think he would do a disservice. I know he's been talking, or there's been talk or potential rumor about him leaving, but I would venture to say, if I was somebody talking to him, or if I had the opportunity to speak with him, I would say, man, I would stay one more, and I would kill the league, destroy the league, and I would expand my range. Because in the NBA now, you need to have at least 15 feet range. There's no back to the basket type of basketball that's being played, and at your size, you're going to need to expand your range, and that's what I would work on going into another season. That's what I would advise.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because coming into the season, that was kind of the idea that it was going to be the last year for Trey McGowans and Lat Mayen and Derek Walker, even though
injury hurt Trey.
Right, but because of that COVID year, they all could come back. And we talked about needing stability and what the team's going to look like moving forward. Man, would it be nice to bring that veteran group back. So hopefully we do see some of that. We got to get to break, but when we come back, we will finish out with Hitting the Hardwood with Strick. Talk about some NBA action, including from his NBA days, memories of playing Dirk Nowitzki. And of course, whenever you bring up Dirk, you got to ask, does he get enough credit for winning that title without a super team in the super team era? So we'll break that down next here on the Block with Strick and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket.
I'm Dan Friedman. When When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a ready next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Old School with DP and J.
I understand it. It is a different generation. I think majority of the guys, the majority of the kids coming out of high school, they don't love football. The high majority, you can just see how they play, and they're probably better athletes depth-wise. But why would they love the sport of football when they get everything that you would get out of performing at a high level with average input?
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season, enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Breakfast tacos, brisket tacos, pork tacos, chicken tacos. You hungry yet? I can keep going. Pork or chicken, queso nachos, queso mac and cheese, hatch mac burritos. Now you're salivating. Muchachos is Lincoln's premier New Mexico barbecue fusion restaurant. You can't miss them in their bright blue building. Pair that great food with delicious coffee for breakfast and a variety of local and national beers on tap the rest of the day. Order your food online at yomuchacho.com or visit them in person at Muchachos on South 11th Street between L and K Streets.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Your NTV First Alert weather tonight. Mostly cloudy, not as cold. Overnight lows 5 above. Mostly sunny, a bit warmer. Friday highs 23, around 48 on Saturday. I'm Chief Forecaster Ken Fountain for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
Beatrice Bakery has been serving Nebraska with one-of-a-kind Grandma's Fruitcake since 1964. You already know that, but did you know they offer way more than that? You've got to try their line of liqueur cakes, like the strawberry daiquiri cake or the vanilla rum cake. Or what about their breakfast breads, the banana nut bread, or their various streusel coffee cakes? Whatever the occasion, Beatrice Bakery has something for you. Oh yeah, and Grandma's Fruitcake? It's still pretty darn good. Beatrice Bakery, located in downtown Beatrice, or always online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back on the block with Strick and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket, wrapping things up for the day with our NBA segment, Hitting the Hardwood with Strick. And, of course, today's topic is a very good one because a former teammate of Strick was honored last night. Dirk Nowitzki gets his number retired with the Mavericks, and certainly well-deserved. I don't know if he gets enough credit for his career, certainly kind of changing the way that we look at big men and shooting from beyond the arc. He kind of ushered in that era. Also, of course, the championship that he had in 2011, one of maybe you could put Kawhi Leonard's championship with the Raptors a few years ago. One of very few that we've seen able to get it done without a super team here in the super team era.
Giannis is up there too.
Yeah, and I don't know. What do you think? It's always kind of fun to go back with Chris Middleton. Is he a star? Do you count?
I mean,
Chris
he is, but
yeah.
I mean, he's a great complimentary guy too. But there's only two of them, and the rest of them were very good, solid role players. Stepped up when they had to step up. They played great D, and they were able to overcome, some adversity, a little bit of injury between Giannis and they got it done. But with Dirk, man, Dirk was the thing I love about Dirk was he was able to learn. And one of the things that he did very well is that he worked his butt off. All of the shots that you saw him make, he actually worked. He had a shooting coach that he brought over here with him from Germany named Hogar. And Hogar, from the time he was a rookie to the time he retired, they spent, Hogar was about to fall. He damn near on a cane. And still was feeding him, and all of those one footers and all of the shots, the crazy hold it until he's about to touch the court type shots. They worked on that. And so the thing about Dirk also was 06, he felt that. 06 was a great learning experience when they lost to Miami Heat with Dwayne and Shaq, and they had them down, I think 3-1, and really should have had them down 3-1, and it probably would have been over. And I happened to be at that game in Miami to watch Dwayne Wade, and the refs looked like they helped him quite a bit too, because they went to the free throw line like every freaking play down after that. But then I think the biggest lesson Dirk learned was they were, I think, the top seed in the West. And it may have been in 09 or 10, right before the year they won it. And Dirk basically got punked by the Golden State Warriors and Stevens, Jackson, and Baron Davis, that Golden State team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They brought it to him and they punked him. And that was the goal. They were basically saying, we're going to punk Dirk. And he learned from that. And when he went into that 11 season, and you could tell it was a totally different Dirk. He was a man against them, that Miami Heat team against LeBron and that, the big three of Bosh and D Wade, right? There was nothing they could do with him. And so that's why I think he deserves tremendous credit for what he was able to do with that team. I think it was Jason Kidd and Terry and Chandler and Stojakovic
but these guys were all at the end of their careers, though. I mean,
they were all
guys. That's why people say Dirk did it alone, is because those guys.
Sean Marion was on that team. They were all tail end guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they made it happen, and Dirk deserves tremendous credit. It's beautiful to see him and Jason Kidd working together. Dirk now took over for Donnie Nelson as the GM of the organization. Well deserved. This is a great family. I remember a story when Dirk was a rookie. It was my third year, and so he tries to post me up one day at practice, I actually dunked on him in practice too, so I talked to him a little bit about that. But he he tried to post me up, and I had him at the 3-point line. This is when you could be physical, though. You know what I mean? So like, I'm like, bro, no, bro, you too light in the A. You're not coming here. And so we had fun. Dirk was really cool. We got to hang out quite a bit, on the road. Me, Dirk, Nash, Finley. This is times when you were able to kind of spend good time with Mark Cuban as well. And Mark would take us on his plane and fly us home if we were in LA or we were in Phoenix or we were in New York. He'd fly us home on his G5, and it was pretty cool, man. It was a good time, and Dirk is well deserving of everything that he has done in his career.
Yeah, it's very cool because you were probably, I know they're like scouts and stuff, but as far as people that got to see Dirk up close and know him like pretty quickly, you were on that team when he was a rookie, so you kind of knew about Dirk before everybody else did, and so it's kind of cool to see his career get to a point to where where it is obviously much further along, but to get that number retired, a great honor for Dirk. That'll wrap it up for our Hitting the Hardwood segment with Strick, and ultimately for our show. We only got about 30 seconds here, but we'd like to thank you for joining us today. We got another great show lined up for you tomorrow. Already booking some guests for next week.
Mañana. Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
gonna be a good week, baby.
So we got some good stuff coming to you. No ticket weeknights tonight. Scheduling conflicts get in the way, but we'd like to send you off on a good night. We'll see you, Strick, and we'll see you, everybody out there listening to 93.7 The Ticket. Have a good one.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's